Hey everybody. Well, it is an absolutely miserable day outside, which makes it the perfect day to build a watch. Let's get at it. Now, one of my subscribers actually made the suggestion to make a little bit more in-depth video, show you guys, cutting of the stem and a few other things. And I haven't done that only because I've been trying to keep my videos to a little bit kind of a reasonable length. Today will be somewhere in between. But I came across an issue with this case here. Now, I didn't notice it until I actually went to put a movement in, and I noticed that the chapter ring, let's see if I can get you that AR is killer on this thing. The chapter ring is just the tiniest bit off. So what I'm going to have to do is pop out the crystal, adjust the chapter ring, and then I will put it back in. Bob's your uncle. Where we go. Robert's your mother's brother. So, first things first, wrist check. I've got this guy on my wrist. So far, my favorite build. I love it. Anyhow, that's enough of that. What we got to do here first is take out this crystal. Now, got my crystal press here. Should be set up for the right. Oh, you know what? It's not, and I know it's not. Just to make sure. Well, go one size a little bit smaller. No, that'll be good. That'll be good. So, I guess you guys asked for it. You get to spend a little bit of extra time with me today. So I hope everybody's doing good. You know, here in Canada, man, the whole place is still burning down. East Coast, West Coast, it's just horrible here. All right. Now this, I have to say, is one of the worst parts because it sounds like you're just destroying things, and it feels like it too, but if you're gentle, just like so. And the trick is, do it in such a way that you're not destroying that crystal gasket. Because if you do, well, now you're looking to get a new one. And if you don't have one, well, you are SOL. Alright, well, that went lovely. Let's put that aside. Just shovel it out of the way. Put that there for the moment. Now, like I said, that chapter ring is just ever so slightly off alignment. So what I'm going to do is I think I'll throw a dial on a movement, and just so I have a good idea as to where it needs to be. And I won't put the crystal back in just yet. And I think this is actually glued in there. If you're gentle, yeah, see it has a little bit of tape. I'm going to have to take that off. So I'm going to clean everything up, and I will show you the next step of what I'm going to do. Be right back. Alright, so here all I've done is I cleaned the adhesive off of the chapter ring. Just be careful, these are mostly metal. This one is, you don't want to scratch the paint off it. I've cleaned up inside here where the chapter ring sits. And this guy doesn't have a little tab to keep you centered, but that's alright. It's not a problem at all. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab this movement, if I can. Yeah, there we go. And take this movement, I'm going to put a dial on it. Well, the dial I'm using today is, in fact, oh, you guys are going to love this one. Look at that. I don't know if you can tell, but that is, yep, fully loomed. That is ridiculously bright. I love that. Okay, I'm excited. Ah, well, look at that. Another step we need to take care of first. Now, this is a 3/8 crown, so the feet we're going to want to take off is the one to the top here and the one to the bottom here. You want to keep the one that's closest to the 3 and the corresponding one on the opposite side. So, real quick and easy. I'll show you guys how to do this. Oh, and I got in trouble. Pardon me. I got in trouble for using the wife's, pink-handled stuff. And look what I did to that. Those are pretty chewed up. These are super mild steel. That's ridiculous. But anyway, I'll have to get her some new ones. And I will use my own. So, easiest way that I've found to do this, you guys, just get right to the bottom of it. Don't even snip it off. Get to the bottom, holding it firmly with your other hand. Just give it a wiggle. That's it. Just comes right off. You honestly don't snip it off, because if you do, you'll snip it off too high and you'll have to file guaranteed. If you do it like this, they usually break off really low and you don't have to file. Or if you do, it's very little. Ta-da! Just like so. So now, we're going to take this dial. Where's my puffer? There we go. Drop that right on where she needs to be. I think right about there. Come on now. It's right there. It just doesn't want to. Oh, okay, there we go. I never like to force anything. Don't ever force anything. It either goes home nicely or it doesn't. But there. We're down. Now just secure it firmly. Make sure it's down nicely. And you're good to go. All right. Now, I'm going to put this, like I said, I want to put this movement, just put it in a case. I'm not worried about hands at the moment. I just want to use the case for lining up the chapter ring now. So we're going to pop this. Oh, come on. Take the stem out. There we go. Now I'll just place that over top. make sure it's in the right place. Now what I'm going to do is I need the stem that came with the movement. That out of the way. Now just temporarily I'm going to put it on the crown. I do need to size the stem, but oops. We're going to put it on the crown at least just for the moment, just to get this movement in here and lined up. Wow, look at the length of that stem. Whew! Just gonna move that over. That's about right. There, it's in. So now we can see what the problem, or where exactly we need to be with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just the tip of this, and I'm going to mark right inside where the bezel insert goes. I'm going to mark dead center for there, middle of the dial. And then I'm going to place the chapter ring inside, line it up so everything matches to that center. Then I'm going to press the crystal in. That'll hold the chapter ring in, and then everything will line up when we're putting it together. So give me another half minute, I will be right back. So on the other hand, what we're going to do first instead is we're going to trim this stem, because with it sticking that far out, I just noticed when I looked closely, I still don't think that's quite centered. So we're going to get that stem trimmed to the right length, and then we know that dial is exactly where it's going to be when we're done. So as you saw, this stem is long. Without a doubt, it's got some length. I know that safely I can trim off a fair bit. Now, I know not everybody, I know a lot of people use calipers. Thus far, I've been pretty decent with it. Wow, those are hard to see inside. So, I'm going to use these. I know roughly how much I can get away with for chopping off, and then it's just a matter of fine tuning. I think about there we should be safe to start with. Make sure you don't lose your stem. Make sure you don't get those little cut off pieces on the floor and then step on them. You will not be happy. Now, what I do here is there's a little flat spot, not flat, but it's a little spot there on the end. You can stick that in the end of your tweezers there, clamp it down and hold it real tight like a vise in your hand here. That way it's not going to spin around when you're putting your crown back on. Now if your cuts are relatively decent, you also don't have problems putting your crown back on. Although I'm trying to do this watching through the camera instead of watching what I'm doing here, so I'm making it look more difficult than it really is. Okay, 1 second so I can see what I'm doing here. I just couldn't see what I was doing. Plus, I'm fighting my gloves now. Start to slip off the very tips of your fingers, and it gets awkward. Now, I should still need to take some off of that. Almost certainly. Excuse me. I don't think that's lined up perfectly. Give me 1 second here before I mess something up. Excuse me. Sorry if I'm coughing again, you guys. The smoke here is, again, it's been horrible for the last little while. And it's not even bad here, is the thing. I really truly feel for the people who are just suffering. All right. So, this is slightly off. What I'm going to do is just ever so slightly, not using the crown or the stem, using the case, the movement holder, I guess, the little gray movement holder. I'm just going to shift it ever so slightly to correct that misalignment. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but it's much better now. The stem is going straight into the movement, whereas before it was just a little bit off. So now I'm happy with the alignment there. I still see that I need to take off safely, another 3 millimeters, I'd say, and we'll be looking good. Somebody asked me just recently how long it takes to build a watch typically. You know, there is no single answer to that. Absolutely not. On a perfect build, absolutely everything goes just immaculately. An hour and a half maybe. Because the biggest step, honestly, is cleaning. You're going to spend way more time cleaning than literally anything else, or at least you should. If you're wanting, wanting to be happy with your build. All right, you can see what I'm taking off there. Just a tiny little bit more. Literally another 2 millimeters. And you know what? Always go a little bit shy. You can always take off a little bit more, but you can't put it back. Quick snip. All right. All right, this time I was seeing what I was doing. It winds. And screws down. See? Made sure to take off just a little bit less. Now that little tiny bit, I'll take a file and take that much, just that little nibble more off of the end of the stem, and then it'll sit nice and flush. So I'm going to do that, and I'll get right back to you guys, and we'll carry on with the next step. All right, you guys. So what I did Just trimmed up that stem just a tiny little bit. Make sure that crown is sitting in there nice and snug. Make sure it's waterproof. So, you know what? I had a thought. That's already done. Let's maybe do things a little differently just because it's already done. We don't have to take everything out to do this. Let's get this case back on here. Get it cleaned up. Well, it is clean, but let's get this case back gasket greased. Put this away. Tighten up my gloves. Just make sure it's always, there's a little recess for that gasket to sit in. Make sure it's sitting in there. So if you pinch it, well, now you have to replace it. It might not sit perfectly, but get it as perfect as you can. There we go. I'll just tighten this down a little bit. Perfect. Now, I've kept this face down the whole time because I spent about 20 minutes making sure this thing was spotless, because any little speck on here is gonna show up like crazy just because of the dial. So what I did, oh, and it's already moved. That's okay. I'll move the bezel. I did, I don't know, I'll show it to you. Put a little mark on center, on the, just, I don't know if it'll, oh yeah, you might be able to see it on camera, just right there. So it's just where you're going to put the adhesive for your bezel insert. You're never going to see that. And it's just a corresponding mark so I can see above a little bit as well as below on the dial. Now we're going to get this in this chapter ring in here. That'll just fall in. And we'll be able to move it that little bit. Let's see. There we go. Move it over that little bit. And this chapter ring, since it doesn't have a tooth, come on, guy. How am I going to move that over? This one, since it doesn't have a tooth, it doesn't want to, I'm going to have to get it right in the right spot, obviously. There. Just have to move it lightly with my fingers. But I need everything there to line up, or it's going to look horrible. Now it's all lined up nice. Next step in the process. Your crystal gasket. And this is One of the last times you'll be able to get in here doing it this way, that's for sure. You know what? I'm being crazy, aren't I? What have we forgot to do, people? We forgot the hands. Oh, feels like a Monday. That's okay. Well, we can fix everything here. So check out these hands. Look at that. I mean, I think that's going to be a really pleasant looking match. I'm excited for this. I wasn't sure what we were going to build today, and then I dug through my parts here and decided, and it was one of those, I don't know, just wasn't sure. And I stuck a few things together and it just spoke to me. One of those Bob Ross moments. So give me half a minute. I'm going to cover this for a second, keep it clean. I'm going to make sure these hands are in good shape and clean, and then we'll get to the process of putting them on. Be right back. Okay, so I'm glad I did that because there's actually some schmutz. Don't ask me to spell that, but there was some schmutz on the minute hand there. There's still a little bit on there, and I'm not sure what the heck it is, and I just can't get it off. No matter what I've tried. I've spent another 20 minutes trying, so I do not believe it's going to be seen. I can only really see it under the monocle, under the loop. So I think we're safe. So let's get this thing spun around and get some hands set. There it is. Okay. Pull up my fingers. I've never done a watch like this where I've built it kind of backwards, but I don't often have to adjust the chapter ring either, so oops. Come on, flip over. There we go. So this is the kind of fidgety stuff I usually don't show you guys, but or I edited out some stuff because sometimes you just have a hard time for no reason, you know? Oh, for the love of you know where. Okay. Make sure we're nice and straight. Now the one downside to doing it this way, I'm already seeing, is that I can't see if, I can't see the depth, or I won't be able to see the actual alignment, how how level the hands are to one another. So just gonna have to go on that tiny bit of skill and hope we have some to spare. It's looking okay though. I'll throw that minute hand on him. Gee, at least I got it here in the first go. It's a good start. Oops. I didn't seem to want to go. Come on now. There, that's better. Okay, let's take a quick closer look with the eyepiece. A little bit one way, a little bit the other way, as always. Okay, that looks pretty good. Pardon me. That's pretty good. We can live with that. Alright. Hands are spaced good, nothing's interfering. One last double look. Okay. Now, let's give me half a second here. I just want to see if I can clean up that minute hand a little bit more before I put that second hand on. Give me half a moment. Okay, so I've cleaned it up again. As you can tell, you spend most of your time cleaning. But at some point you have to kind of realize that you're looking through a loop, so you're going to see a lot of things that nobody's ever going to see. But now for the fun part. Nobody sneeze. Gotta breathe. Remember to breathe. on here. Let me just take a closer look here. We're a little crooked, but other than that, not looking too shabby. Well, I wonder. Okay, you guys. So, truth be told, that was a huge pain in the ass. Getting that second hand on and lined up properly was almost impossible, not being able to see, laterally from the side here like that. So I wound up taking it all out, putting it all on, taking putting the second hand on, putting it all back together. It was just so much easier. I won't be doing that again. So, learn from my mistakes, everyone. I just thought I was trying to be smart, and that's what you get. So, now, next step, everything's lined up the way I want. Let's get this crystal gasket in here. Make sure it sits there nicely and it didn't move that chapter ring on me. I just want to make sure that's sitting in there good, nice and even everywhere. So that when you press the crystal in there, it goes down evenly. And you don't crush the gasket. Okay. I just want to 100% sure, make sure of that crystal, of that chapter ring. Okay, that's good. Quick little blowout of anything else that might have floated in. And we're good. I'm going to take this crystal, give it a quick wipe as well, because now this case is closed, so we don't want anything on the inside of this crystal because we're not opening it again. Outside we can deal with. Inside, no thank you. Looking good. Now, this crystal has a little bit of a chamfer. That chamfer goes towards the top so that the bezel insert sits nicely up against it. So, lightly place the crystal in. Now, honestly, I think this is probably your most important step here. Just get it make sure you're straight. Give it a little snug up with your fingers, but absolutely even pressure all the way around it. It's not going to go, see, it's not going to want to go anywhere at the moment until it gets pressed in there. So it's nice and even. Go back to our tool, our crystal and bezel press. Actually, I'm going to change that top part so that it's a little bit bigger. It covers a little bit more area of the crystal for pressing down. For getting it out of there, I'd rather be right in the, more or less in the middle. That's still sitting nice and flush. Just very gently give it a little bit of pressure as soon as you get it nice and centered. A little bit of pressure. And rotate. Center. A little bit of pressure again. Give it a rotate. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Just go slow and you'll get it. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Now, let's see where we're at. Now I can already see that's moved over to one side. Now hopefully we'll be able to fix that issue. If not, well, nothing you can do. You have to start over. Take it out and do it again. But I certainly hope we'll be able to fix the issue. Oh, that die is loose. That's not helping anything. Let's see how we're doing. Nope. See? Didn't work. Here you guys. Again, learn from my mistakes. Can you see it? Somehow I pinched that crystal gasket in there. Didn't sit right. So, back to the drawing board. I'm going to tear it out. Luckily, I have another crystal gasket. So, I'm going to do that. I'll be right back again. Okay, guys. So, I took out the crystal. Well, I took everything out. Took the crystal out. Grabbed a new crystal gasket. Lubed everything up. Put everything back. Now we're going to try again. This is where we left off. Back in the machine we go. Light, even pressure. Oh, hey, there we go. That just fell in there perfectly. Perfect. Love it. Okay. So now there's our alignment. Spot on. That's where we wanted it. All right. Well, next thing's next. Get this out of our way. We're done with that. That was fun. I'm glad you guys got to see something like that because, man, mess ups like that happen all the time. It's always good to have, the little parts like that, the cheap parts, the stems, the gaskets, get yourself extras just because. Okay, next thing we're going to do here real quick is bezel insert. Oh, actually, I fibbed. Next thing I want to do is close this back up. I had it open. Like I said, I had to take everything out. Come on. There we go. Should never have to fight anything. Ow, that was my thumb. Good, and that's why you put plastic, because if you slip, you do no damage. Alright, so, bezel insert. After all that nonsense, this is an easy part. So what I've done, I've gone around the outside of, your little 3M insert here. I score it all real good with an X-Acto knife. And what I do is this. I just tear out the center circle. I might not have caught that part. Oh, looks like I didn't. Looks like I need a sharper knife. I mean, without a doubt I do. I have more, I just haven't dug one out. So yeah, let's go around the edge. So you can do like so. So far I've found this is usually the easiest way to do this. Because then, you wind up keeping these inner circles for dial dots. There you go. We'll take our bezel. Just line it up around the outside as good as you can do it. And once this is down, it's hard to move like this. So, and I should be looking at I'm always trying to do things through the camera. I'm trying to get an eye for what you guys see. Make sure everything works, But sometimes it's harder to do that. There we go. Just like that. Jeepers. I think it's lunchtime. Starting to fight things. I think it is lunchtime. Oh, for Pete's sake. I'll be right back. Gotta get this silly thing off here. Okay. Remember back when I said, way back when I said it was a great day to build a watch? No, I still won't take that back. It's always a great day to build a watch. But it just seems to be one of those days where I'm fighting things a little bit extra. It's okay. Breathe, work through it, build another watch. Alright. Now if you do this very gently, you can get it moved around a little bit as you need to. And if you do like I did right there, and you can't get in there, find yourself a sharp edge. Make sure you don't touch don't push it down at all. Just grab the very edge and get it up out of there. Let's see. go. There we go. There. It's just able to get the knife because it fell in, but I hadn't pushed it down yet, so it's still sitting really loose. And I found an edge that was just above a little bit and got the edge up just enough to pick it up and grab it, enough to move it. And now we have perfect alignment. I like the way this watch looks, actually. I was really wondering how this was going to turn out. This turned out much better than I expected again. I'm happy about that. Well, let's put a bracelet on this thing and see what it looks like fully completed. What did I do with the spring bars for this fella? Did I shove them in my drawer? Bet you I did. Sure enough, spring bars. I knew I had them. Oops. Here, I'm just gonna. Let's see. I might be able to do this with my gloves on. Find it easier when I take my gloves off. Did I get it? Son of a gun. We got it. We got it. I'll see if we can do it again. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of a longer episode, I guess you could call it. A little bit more in depth. You got to see a bunch of mess ups, a bunch of screw ups. That's, minus editing and the swearing. That's about usually the way it goes. Some builds are just so easy. And then some are just a pain in the rear. But, unless you're doing something wrong, you should be able to learn from both experiences. Happy little trees, right? I'm gonna have to get myself a wig. This is where doing this without the gloves would be easier because I could feel what I'm doing. You know what? We have tools for this sort of thing, don't we? See? Tools for the job, yo. There we are, guys. Another job well done. Glad you joined me today. Let me know what you think. If you guys want to see like more kind of shorter content, quick builds and stuff like that, or if you like the longer stuff, yeah, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget, sale going up in my Etsy shop. 10% off starting June 21st till July 21st of this year. So 10% off everything there, minus except for, sale stuff. Because, well, hey, can't do that. But, here, Look at that for a loom shot. I don't even have to go anywhere. You can tell right off how how bright that loom's gonna be. And right now, it's not very bright. He needs to brighten up yet. Thanks everybody. I really appreciate your time, your comments, all the love. Please like and subscribe, comment. It really helps out. And if you want to buy any of my stuff, check me out in my Etsy shop or contact me directly. We can do something together. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care. See you again. Just a quick little ad. The loom on this thing is killer. I mean, it's middle of the day. I'm barely in a shadow of any kind. And it lights right up. When this thing is fully charged, it's going to glow all night like that. Anyhow, just had to share because that's kind of ridiculous. Cheers, guys.